I have never met anybody who became incredibly successful in any area of their life until they had suffered and sweated and sacrificed and kept their focus and fought through tears and trials and tests. And if you have a dream and you commit to it, it will come to pass.
Good afternoon, guys. So we're at the shed today, TBJP and the shed. It is a special occasion because it's my first time to train here. Ever since the gym opened, I've not had a chance to train here. I was here for the opening, but I was way too busy. Last time I was here, I only did a posing session. I struggled to train and do a posing session with the coach. So just did that. So today we're here and we're going to train some legs. Yeah, I'm going to document that for you guys, just to give a bit more variety as well, because I seem to train at FLF, and I think I've done a session at Ultraflex. I'm not sure, did you do a session at Ultraflex? Yeah. So this is home from home as well. This is Jordan's gym and James, but Jordan's had a very big, if not the biggest input in my bodybuilding, and I've travelled with him ever since I started till just before this prep, so that would have been 11 years, so the most influential person for me so far. So it feels a bit like a pilgrimage to be here to train, and yeah, just feel a good energy. So yeah, that's what we're going to do today. 11 weeks out yesterday, so things are moving pretty steady, and Jordan actually asked me, are you happy? And for me, I don't really stop and sort of assess how I'm feeling, because at whatever time I just feel there's work to be done, and it's for the coach to tell me where we're at and whether he's happy. So I just send a check-in, I take my pictures, I send them without thinking much, and then Kuba will tell me this is where we need to be, blah blah blah, blah blah blah, and I just get back and do the work. I think it really helps me manage my headspace that way, and then I can just focus on my client, focus on my job, focus on other things in life. But when I'm in here, it's simply just to get the work done, and then every single day, so long as we're making progress across the board, then that's a day in the bag. Then we just move forward. But yeah, I'm still gonna mimic the same session I do, but we're just gonna pick a leg press. So we're talking between Cybex or Nitrum. I understand Nitrum's got a lot more stability, so we might go with that, and I'll just try it out of curiosity, and we might add that at FLF. Still looking at the pieces, but based on how this goes, then I might go back home and say, listen guys, let's get this. If it is good, I think it will be good, because it's going to be there. So yeah, that's where we're at with everything else. What else to say? Not much else to say, it's just work to be done. So I'm here with Jack, who's actually one of Kuba's clients who I trained yesterday, and I told him I'd be around these sites today, and yeah, we'll meet again, and we'll be training together this time as opposed to me training him. So that should be fun, and it gives me a reference point to coach you guys whilst I'm coaching him, so that will bring value for both parties, to be fair, because left to myself, I don't like filming legs because I've got nothing to say in the rest periods. I just want to recover and be able to go hard again, so this will be a bit different. So yeah, that's that guys, and we will update you as we go on. So yeah, get this down me, prepare, and then game on. Oh mate, that's nice. whenever we're on pieces like this, it's so important, like everything else, the setup's got to be right. Where your seat is will determine everything in terms of how you use the floor as a reference point, because the floor is always your reference point. And then the next thing as you come up is how you actually align with the line of force, whether you're able to place your arms in line with how the machine pulls. Now, once that's happened, the emphasis really becomes on how hard you can drive your elbows into the pad, because that is a reference point. Whenever you walk into a machine and you see pads, you gotta think, how can I maximize this pads here? Because any pad you see will be for the sole reason to be able to drive into. So as opposed to using your wrist to curl, the emphasis is really to dig your elbow into the pad as hard as possible. And then by default, you create output on the bicep. So let's just watch Jack, even though Jack's got good arms. So as you can see, keep going. So really Jack is starting that by pulling here, because his first point of contact is his arms. Whereas we want to chop this, and we just want you to emphasize on digging your elbow hard. You see, does that feel different? Yeah. So it's just dig that elbow in as hard. And by default, the bicep gets working. I just want quality reps. Otherwise, if I need a hand, then I've picked the wrong weight. Yeah. And then before you know it, if I aggravate it, now I can't train biceps for so long. So this is what I say mostly. If you're training around the niggle, don't piss it off. Yeah. Don't piss it off, because if it gets pissed off, now you can't train it at all. But if you can work your way around it, choose high reps, make sure your execution is up to par, and that will still be able to drive some sort of stimulus in it. But if you piss it off by overshooting on load, it just doesn't allow you to train. Yeah, and then now it starts affecting you when you're doing back as well. So now you're paying twice as much for the price of making a stupid decision. I love it, love it. It's just gonna be like everything that's valuable is worth fighting for. You know what I mean? But what's valuable? It's like, is it fulfilling spiritually, emotionally, intellectually?
When you've had something that's value to you, and you've done it for like 15, 20 years. Like if you're a cyclist, you can continue doing that till you're 60,
because it's
70,
valuable. Because it's valuable, right?
You can't do this forever.
Yeah, because it's valuable and it's fulfilling. But just because it's hard doesn't mean you should pursue it. Because a lot of people pursue things that are hard and fair play, they've achieved them. But when they've got there, the feeling that they've experienced is not the one that they thought they'd experienced, because it's not valuable to them. They found out, it's like you're talking about this car. It's not valuable to you. So it has to be valuable to you. And for me, valuable is when it's fulfilling spiritually, when it's fulfilling emotionally, intellectually, then that's valuable and it's worth fighting for, and it's still hard. But everything that's hard is not necessarily worth fighting for. Do you know what I mean? It's a very thin line. And yes, hard, things that are worth it are hard to get. But it doesn't mean you should fight for it. And that's part of the contract for me every year. In bodybuilding, it's like, are you going to stop? Are you going to crack on? And I look at my contract. Does it still fulfill me? Spiritually, emotionally? Am I still enjoying it? Yeah, I'm going to do another season.
Well, how do you deal with it when it gets to the point where maybe you still want to pursue it, but for like health, or for example, like if that was taken away from you? That's what I mean.
If that happened,
Yeah.
then that was meant to happen. That was meant to, I just accept it. I think it's a case of just surrender and just going down the stream, knowing that you are where you're meant to be. If that happens, that was meant to happen. Are you with me? So once again, you come back into the moment and you just enjoy it, because it can be swept off your feet anytime, under your feet anytime. You know what I mean? With an injury, like you said, with health reasons, you go for a checkup and you're told, right,
That's it.
that's it. You know? Okay. If you watch then what I just did then, I did a lot of fuffing about with the back seat, with the thigh pad, and with the heel pad, because that is ultimately the most important bit of this setup. That will determine what you take away from the set, your ability to apply intensity, and to take the hamstring to the full range. So play with the setup, play with the settings and the setup as much as you want until you're happy. Once you're pleased, then get to work. But the biggest thing is you have the knee in line with the axis there, and that will then determine where the back chest you should be, and it'll also determine where your heel should be. It'll give you the biggest clue of feel. If that is aligned with your knee joint, then things will start feeling good. You realize things feel a touch better. Yeah, but no.
Just get my back sort of thing.
No, and that's a good thing, because when it's your pelvis that's most important. So you should be looking and staying in a sort of crunched position, so that then pushes you far back. But then you're pushing against these handles to create counterforce for you to be able to keep your pelvis there. If you had to pull, then your hips start sliding forward, which then will probably put pressure on your lower back, and then start loading your calf as well. So you see, like the way I'm sat there, it's almost like a hunchback, right? Because I just want pressure on here. I'm sort of dropping my rib cage as close to my hip as possible, and then that just keeps a lot more tension around my midriff, and then it keeps my pelvis in touch. Yeah, my lower back, yeah. Because what happens between the hip and the knee is what matters most when you're training the hamstring. The rest here doesn't matter. So come up. So you see, if that's your leg, think of doing that. So breaking that joint so that this goes up. Better. So fully straighten the leg, and then think of breaking here. Yes. You feel the difference? Yeah? So this doesn't matter. That to that, that's what matters. This is the life of breaking of the knee first,
Yeah, I can see that.
and then everything else follows after that. So there's still a bit of oomph going down, but that's not by swinging or creating some sort of inertia at the top, just to get it swinging. A slight pause at the top, so that it reminds you to break at the knee and then follow through.
So the inform is where the force is being generated from initially.
Yeah, the intent, and that's what intent is. Do you know what I mean? What moves first? Either the target muscle or the joint nearest. At this point, the joint nearest is moving first, right? Good. Make sure you're changing direction in a manner which is challenging the hamstrings. Nice. Better. How many is that? One more. Fight, fight, fight. Good. Not bad. Never ever. When it comes to the leg extension, then we're focusing on the handles more than anything. On the hamstring curl, once we set up, we're focused on pushing the handles on the handlebars. On the leg extension, it becomes the opposite. We pull the handles up so that it wedges our bums onto the seat, and that way, then improving stability, and then improving the amount of output you're able to get out of your quads. So very, very important. On your way down, you're just getting ready. Once your heels go under the seat, then you're pulling and extending at the same time. You're doing both in tandem to make sure it's like a traffic light system. So once you get up, once again you're coming down, you loosen your grip a bit so that your forearms don't fatigue. So very important. So that's also important, like for me as I go forward, to maintain that execution, the quality of execution. Sometimes you got to adjust the load. And I think that's where most people struggle, because they try to go heavier and then the quality just goes to shit. You know what I mean? So it's like having the humility to reduce the load, to keep the quality of the execution, but also to be in the prescribed rep range. I think you got to respect the program that's been set out for you based on the rep range, because there's a certain amount of work you got to do across the week. Now, if you drop in the quality, then it's hard to measure what it is you're doing or what you're not doing. It becomes less tangible.
That's a typical sort of young person mistake as well.
100%.
Everybody ends up doing the same way.
Yes, 100%.
Like everybody's different abilities, different strengths.
Yeah, 100%. You know, and as you get fatigued, you go, and this is where the prime pieces are great, because then you can adjust the resistance so that if you then don't want to drop the load, then you can adjust the resistance to the load to drop off with the weakest, which is at the top here. You know what I mean? To allow you to fully shorten the quad. Because this is the only piece of kit that allows you to fully shorten the quad. The rest is just all in length, you know. My legs are warm now, so I don't need a lot of warming up to do. Really, yeah, sleeves on, feel about 2 plates, sleeves on.
I'm thinking about using wraps because of that.
Yeah, I have sleeves, yeah.
I've got both.
Yeah.
Still would have been like a tenner.
Yeah, whatever makes you feel safe. Sleeve 4. Pivot, and this moves the same as that.
Oh, okay.
It's convergence. That's why I don't want to use the up and down, because I've got a hack after, which is up and down. So, yeah, but also I literally just get down without any effort. You know, on the straight, you know, there's a lot of adjustments. So,
Yeah, so chuck them back on now, yeah? Come on.
Back down. In.
Thank you.
You alright?
Yeah, man. I think you're alright. 5 more?
No. I'm in prep now.
Oh yeah, when did you start?
10 weeks. Yeah. So it's more about quality, just not bouncing, making sure everything is coming from the muscle. So nice and deep, staying there for a minute, and then coming off. Otherwise, sometimes if you overshoot, you get a lot more fatigue than the stimulus that you're able to occur. Just moving nicely. And you live to fight another day.
Come on. Nice. Let's go.
I like it, and that's why I was insistent to use this piece, because I think this for leg presses is at par with the Atlantis pivot press. And if you ask me which one is better, I won't be able to tell you, because we're splitting hairs. Honestly, absolutely immense. If you move it right, touches the legs. Fucking hell. Touches your legs, doesn't it? So basically, we've come from a leg extension, 2 sets. We're going to take 2 sets here on the Cybex. As you can see, my feet, once again, as low as possible. And then my emphasis is just on getting deep into the stretch, spending a bit of time there, not a pause per se, but enough time to make sure I'm not using any elastic energy to come out of that place, and actually challenging my legs, my quads, to take me out of that. Once I get to the top, because there's no value at the top, I'm back down there where I'm challenging the quad at full length, and then repeat until I get enough reps. But yeah, once again, very, very beautiful piece. I've been looking forward to using it, and it's not disappointed me. It moves very nice, very smooth, and it feels safe more than anything. I opted not to use the Nitron because once again it moves in a linear fashion up and down the rail, and we have that in the hack squat. So I wanted something that converges and sort of drops off and challenges you at different ranges. So the Cybex it is. About 10 to 12. So I just aim for 10 to 12, and then I take a rep at a time. I feel it's so important. As much as you set a target, you stay in the rep, because sometimes when you get ahead of yourself and you start thinking of the reps ahead, you almost forget what you're meant to do in a moment, and then that becomes a game of chasing reps and actually not doing any quality work. So there's a target, and I'm just taking one rep, then doing another rep, then doing another rep, then totaling it all out at the end. And then the following session, you're just looking to be better, maybe add a rep. Otherwise, if you just held bent on beating the logbook, then you find out progressive overload is really a snake chasing its own tail.
Bend the form to get a number rather than doing it properly.
100%. Quality over quantity. No, he doesn't. Right, let's go. No bounce. Go sit on that, sit on a hamstring, and then really push the plate, contract your quads. Better. Slowly down. Now contract your quads as hard as possible. Oh yes, go again. Yeah, 100%. That's why I didn't come to spot you, because I don't want to put pressure on you to feel like you got to perform.
I think for now, like the hack squat's just going to get better off on that.
Yeah. Basically, I need to speak a bit about the hack squat. So, on the hack squat, when you've seen the basis of my setup was how low my feet was on the platform. So then the emphasis is to get as much deflection as possible, and as a result of that, place full challenge on the quads. And the further up you go, then it's just legs, you're getting a bit of everything. But for me, I'd rather put emphasis on where my needs are the most, and I need more quad. I need more leg, don't get me wrong, but I need to train my legs with a lot more specificity as I approach each movement and be clear on what the objective is. And the objective is always biased, you can't fully isolate, because their muscles work in synergy. So the lower your feet are on the plate or on the platform, the more deflection you're going to get. The more deflection you get, the more challenge is going to be placed on the quads. Because after that, now we've come back to the lying hamstring curl, which is then an isolation movement that's challenging the hamstrings. So we start the session with hamstrings, finish with hamstrings. Just different planes. Seated hamstring to start, lying hamstring to finish.
So when we're using this, are we doing it in the same way that we are the seated hamstring? We're driving the knee into the pad.
Yeah, and that's an important question, because then from a setup perspective, what you have is people just lying on it with their knees hanging here. Remember, the most important thing when training the hamstring is what happens between the hip and the knee. So you want both the hip and the knee on the pad, so that you're able to then drive the knee in, but not most importantly, keep the hip down with some sort of integrity, if you like. A bit of movement is not the end of the world, but you want a very consistent, stable hip, right? And that's why when I cue clients, before they curl, I cue them to clamp the glutes, because when you clamp the glute, it extends the hip, you know? So it's very important that your hip, the body English is staying a bit more consistent, but that then will be determined by how far you, how you set up at first. So if the knee's hanging here, you can't have the same stability. So you want the knee and the hip both on this pad, and then the other stuff will just follow in. So that's very important. That. session wrapped up, 3 sets, seated hamstring curl, which I feel is always the best movement to start a leg session based on how stable the movement is, based on my needs, which is hamstring. You always start with the weakest body part, you prioritize that, but you still feel a gas. Onto the leg extension, 2 sets. If you notice butt movements, encourage knee flexion, so then it sets you up for the big compound, which was a Cybex leg press today, 2 sets. Then finished with a Atlantis hack squat, 1 set. Back onto the hamstrings because they're a weak body part, we finished the session with them. Not to mention biceps to start, they just get littered across the week. So train according to your needs and respect the work that's been programmed for you. Otherwise, when you don't get the result that you're after, don't blame anyone for the work that you didn't do. That's that. 11 weeks now, we're getting into the business end of things, and we're starting to sort of almost go up to the next gear and zone in and home in on what needs to be done. But more importantly, just constantly looking at my blind spots and think what is it that I can improve. Now, this is a game of progress, and there's always progress to be made. So if you look carefully at your blind spots, then there's progress to be made outside the gym in how much sleep you could get, how much more water you could drink, how much more electrolyte balance you could get, how accurate your meal timings are, and I could go on. There's things that could be improved, micro improvements, and they all compound because they all affect performance and recovery on the other end of the spectrum. And that being said, we're in a good spot mentally, and like I said, this is a different prep from all other preps I've done, in that there's a lot more fulfillment in the process. Not because I've not had fulfillment before, but I think this one just means a touch more for a reason I probably will speak about later, a reason I'm not speaking about now. But yeah, this one feels much more guided and much more in tune with the whole process. And yeah, it's just a day at a time. But other than that, you know, that's that for this session. It's been beautiful to train here at the shed, first time here. Like I said before, it's a bit more like a pilgrimage. And it's been beautiful. Met some guys here that I've not seen for a while. Touch base with them. And then the rest is like that literally is why we're in the process, you know, to enjoy the process as we go on. And you know, meet like-minded individuals, and then from there, just travel down together. But yeah, that being said, absolutely fucked. So I'm gonna get my food and we're gonna travel back up to Manchester. So I hope you enjoy this. Ask any questions you want at the bottom, and then let us know what you think, and also let us know what it is that you want to see going forward. That being said, respect, and I'll see you all next week.